I'm so depressed today. If I don't get that dress, I'll be anxious. My mom is cleaning everything. She has OCD. I got less marks. It's so traumatizing. I nearly got a panic attack when I couldn't get concert tickets. You must have heard at least one of these statements. But how appropriately are we using mental health labels? Welcome to Second Opinion, where experts speak first.
Any breakup is equal to depression, any kind of sadness is equal to depression, any grief is equal to depression. So one word is becoming the alternative for every other emotion around.
People identifying themselves can come out and verify that.
Mental health is one area where the misuse and overuse of words that otherwise have specific meanings is becoming quite rampant. It is because mental health disorders or illnesses are used as substitute for describing feelings and everyday events. Haven't we heard someone being called depressed to simply convey they are sad, or called someone a person with OCD because they are obsessive about cleaning? These seemingly harmless mistakes cause grave harm to people who suffer from mental health conditions. It is undeniably invalidating their feelings or adding to the stigma they have already experienced. But is it really sadness or depression? Is it annoyance or trauma? Do you know if someone just likes cleanliness around them and like to be organized but are not suffering from OCD? People might be sensitive and not really suffer from a mental health issue. The National Mental Health Survey by NIMHANS found that 10.6% of adults in India suffer from mental health disorders. But 70% to 90% of people with mental health disorders do not receive proper treatment due to lack of awareness, stigma, and shortage of professionals.
A person is feeling very sad. Even any student would come up and say that, ma'am, he is going through a breakup, he is depressed. So any breakup is equal to depression, any kind of sadness is equal to depression, any grief is equal to depression. So one word is becoming the alternative for every other emotion around. Currently, earlier it was only about depression and anxiety. Now we hear about PTSD, which was not really common. If we see 5 years back, PTSD nobody knew about. Now OCD, obviously now people are using it for everything. A person who is even clean or disciplined is called as OCD. And the words like trauma. Just before going to the exam, I felt like I'll be having a panic attack. Feeling anxious on one side and having anxiety. And the symptoms, or even a person who doesn't want to go to a gathering, saying that the person is very social, having social anxiety. Like these kind of terms which actually should be given by like after a diagnosis. If at all you are not going through an MRI scan or even a blood test and you're saying that I'm having a headache. If someone tells you, oh, it could be a tumor, how would you feel? But on the other side, even if you're having the smallest of, but even then someone will be like, oh, the person is having anxiety. So this kind of, the understanding of the words are somewhere or the other clear, but I would say the understanding of the meaning is much more diluted right now. For any of the simplest of a thing, they get the extreme words. Instead, I would be very thankful as a mental health professional and an academician. I would be very thankful to social media for bringing about these discourse or a discussion around mental health, which brought in the awareness. But where it went wrong is that it became very casual to use these words, and it also somewhere felt very cool to tell that I know about all these things. Awareness is good, but awareness is not equal to expertise. So you being aware of something, I know about cancer, that doesn't mean you will go and tell someone that I think you are having cancer.
Talking of social media, various hobbies or forms of self-care are being labeled as therapy. But Experts say that though many of these can bring in temporary happiness and helps to some extent, it does not completely help to treat mental health concerns for those struggling with these illnesses in severity.
See, for example, for diabetes, yes, for diabetes prevention, exercise will help, dieting will help. But if a person is having 600 and above level of sugar, will you suggest just dieting? You won't. Definitely, you will immediately start insulin or some oral hypoglycemic tablets to reduce the sugar level. The same way, the severity matters and the chronicity of the problem. So if it is chronic, if the person is feeling sad and even getting suicidal thoughts, you will not suggest some talk therapy or art therapy, music therapy. This is just a supportive part of the treatment.
Moreover, one solution is not for everyone. And if misinterpreted, it can lead to people requiring mental health support to misunderstand their own mental health struggles and treatment methodologies.
People say I'm diabetic, so there is a proof, there is a valid evidence, and there is a certificate like from the consultant, like, so you are been suffering with diabetes for this many days. Similarly, for mental health issues also, people have to come out, reach support to the consultants like us and get clarified over the issues. And please stop labeling. So people should not label anybody. So they can, if they think that they are having some certain health issues, you can always recommend them to go meet mental health consultants like us, so they get clarified on what is the actual problem. So labeling is to be avoided as a social issue. So this is what we need to think.
Casual labels create a benchmark for an individual's mental health, and calling someone depressed, OCD, or BPD may seem like another adjective, but it diminishes the seriousness of mental health terminologies.
They think that it is normal and they are very reluctant to get help. The society's duty is to help them to approach a profession like a psychiatrist or a clinical psychologist to assess them, then judge them, like whether it is part of normalcy or whether they need professional help or not. So instead, if the person, they themselves conclude, if the society is discouraging them by trying to normalize the situation, then that's again a problem.
When real symptoms don't match these jokes, adjectives, or the labeled version, individuals affected might think that their symptoms are not serious enough or don't present in the same way, and can feel invalidated and might end up not seeking timely help.
For example, if you have cleanliness obsession, you wash your hands repeatedly. So the number of times they do this compulsive act will also increase from 10 times, 20 times, even up to 50 times. They'll have all this excoriation of skin. They'll go and meet a dermatologist, and from the dermatologist side, they will refer to us telling that this person is having this dermatitis, and the reason for this dermatitis is this cleanliness obsession and washing. So it will further delay the treatment. So the duration of this untreated part will have impact on the treatment and the prognosis part also. So it's better to understand if somebody is doing that repeatedly, cleaning their hands. So you need to talk to them. Do you really want help, and do you think this is normal, and discuss with them and help them. So when people get this awareness, oh, what this can be a panic attack, initially they will be rushing to ICU thinking that it is a serious cardiac problem. Now the opposite side, that can be a real problem also, or that can be panic attack. But because of this awareness, people now prefer going to a psychiatrist. But even a smaller thing like getting fear for something, that is not a panic attack. They need some medication, or they need regular counseling, cognitive behavioral therapy and other therapies. But feeling anxious is different from suffering from anxiety disorder. This everybody should understand. When they try to use this even for smaller things like feeling anxious, if they use this word feeling panic, so the person who is having panic anxiety disorder, they think, okay, everybody is getting panic, why should I unnecessarily go and seek help? So this is delaying the treatment part. And one way it's good, like the stigma with the psychiatric diagnosis is minimized, but in other way, the stigma in taking treatment is further worsening. So this has to go off. So, right understanding in psychiatry is actually difficult because we don't have any blood investigations or radiological investigation to prove the diagnosis. It's basically clinical diagnosis. So, better you need a clinical assessment before concluding.
Words are not just sounds or any labels. Thousands of people fail to acknowledge or express their mental health struggles. With the existing stigma surrounding mental health, it's already difficult to seek help. It's important for us to act right, use the mental health terminology wisely, or someone else in need might pay the price. That's all for this episode of Second Opinion.